Good morning, friends. I'm outside today here in Ohio, and it's a little brisk today. It's in the 30s still, but it's going to warm up a little bit later. But the reason I'm out today is because it's been a little overcast here, and I wanted to get out in the sunshine today for the first time in days, and I wanted to tell a story. First of all, my name is Jerry Schrock, and if you haven't been following my journey on Instagram, I have gone on to a lifelong journey to make the best version of myself. And one of the first things I wanted to concentrate on in my journey was to get to be more healthy. And with that health came healthy eating, more exercise. I got up this morning and did my yoga, just so you know. And I had a wonderful, nutritious breakfast. And now I'm just relaxing and enjoying my happy place outside my backyard while my dog is sniffing around saying, "Oh my gosh, we ain't been outside in a while today." But I actually went to something the other day that says, you know what? If you're really out here to try to share your story and try to inspire people through your healthy journey, then they got to know you. And I started thinking to myself, what do my followers on Instagram know about me? So I made a post yesterday and I said, what do you want to know? I will answer one of your questions on my next IGTV post. And that's what I'm going to do here today. Now, there were a lot of good ones, and they all had to do with my healthy journey, because that's what I've been talking about forever. My healthy journey. I'm doing this. I've lost this much weight. I've got to feel better. My gut's healthy, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing this. I'm eating these products. I'm drinking these things. And then I started thinking to myself, there's stuff that they don't know. And why in the world would they follow me on my journey if they don't know who I am? So I went out there and I posted the question, do you really know me? And what is it about me that you would really like to know? And my winning submission today, I told them I'd pick one. I'm actually going to send a prize to this person, and I'll make that prize known on my page later, so you guys can take a look at it and see who actually, or see what the prize actually is. But came from a former student of mine, of all things, somebody who used to sit in my sophomore American history class back in the day, and I'll go ahead and share her name. Her name at that time was Danny Mybers, and now she's married to another person that I know, and so her name is Danny Mustard, and they have a beautiful child, and I follow her on Instagram, and she said, can you tell us a story about you, about why you became a teacher? And I said, oh my gosh, what a great story. What a great story. Because I'll tell you what, I went to Bowling Green, just happened to have the sweatshirt on, and I was going to be the next Bill Gates. Now, you got to understand, I'm old. I'm old. With old age comes wisdom. And with wisdom comes, you got a lot to say. So I'm going to tell my story as quickly as I can and try to get this done in under 5 minutes if I can. But bear with me, it's a good story. And while I was in Bowling Green, I was spending a lot of time my freshman year at the computer lab. That was back in the day where we didn't have the processors like we have right now. We had to use the card readers, and we had to type in all of the code, and we had this big stack of cards, and we had to take it to the compiler, and they had to run it through, and then you had to sit there and wait, sometimes for an hour and a half, until it get compiled, and then you'd find out you had 27 syntax errors. You had to fix all your syntax errors and send it through, then you had 9 syntax errors after another hour and a half. And it was quite a process. And to be honest with you, I was going crazy in that degree. Because if you can't tell, I'm a people person. I need to be around people. And I was around people, but we were all just sitting in the hallways at the Math Science building there at Bowling Green, waiting on our turnaround on our printouts. And I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, is this truly what I want to do the rest of my life? This ain't the same as playing on computer games. Back in the day, they were just text computer games, because we're talking back in the mid-'80s. But anyway, I was thinking I got to come up with something else to do, because I just think I need something that's more people-centered. And I called a friend of mine from back in the day in high school, and always had a little crush on her. I'm going to keep her nameless because I don't want her to know all this stuff. She might watch this and say, oh, he's talking about me, for heaven's sake. But we'll see. But I called her and I asked her, I said, look, Harry Chapin, one of our favorite folk singers back in the day, was doing a concert in Toledo. I said, if I get 2 tickets, you want to go with me? And she said, absolutely, absolutely. So I drove to my hometown, picked her up, and it wasn't far away. I think I lived about 40 minutes away from Bowling Green campus in a small town in Northwest Ohio. But anyway, I picked her up, and I took her to the concert, and we're just sitting there, and I'm thinking, like, how am I going to get jiggy with this girl? How am I going to get my arm around her? I want to let her know that I'm interested. This ain't the friend zone time. This is time for us to get to know each other a little bit tonight. So I spent some money, and I didn't have a lot of money back in college. But we're sitting there, and we're watching and listening to his music. And if you don't know Harry Chapin, he got killed in a car wreck not too awful long ago. Tragic, because he was a hero of mine. Great storyteller, and that's why this makes such a great story. because it's a storyteller about a storyteller. It's a story about a storyteller, I should say. But anyway, we're sitting there and we're listening to his big hit, Cats in the Cradle, and I'm just feeling the vibe and Taxi and all these things you heard of. And then there's another song that he came up with that I had never heard before. It's called Flowers Are Red. And if you never heard it, the gist of it is it's about a little child that goes to school. On the very first day, he was nervous, and the teacher told him to paint flowers, and he painted flowers with all these colors, and the teacher got angry. Now, he does this more poetic and does it better than this, but the teacher got angry because they said flowers are red and green leaves are green. There's no reason to paint flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. And the kid said, but there are so many colors in the rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see every one. And she got angry with him and stuck him in the bathroom and locked him up in there until he could come out and get his mind right. And so the kid got scared, and so she said, well, and he said, flowers are red and green leaves are green. There's no need to paint flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. He started reciting her mantra instead of his beauty that he saw in the world. Well, eventually, that kid moved to another school. And he goes to the school, and the teacher there was smiling, and she said, painting should be fun, so let's paint flowers in any way and use there's so many colors in the rainbow, so let's use every one. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the poem justice, but the little kids looked at her and said, flowers are red, green leaves are green. There's no need to paint flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. And during that song, I remember the girl that I took on the date. Remember her? She's in this story. She's over kind of snuggling up to me and kind of getting there, and I'm kind of almost nudging her away. I'm thinking like, this is what I wanted, and it's happening, and I'm pushing her away because I'm thinking to myself, I'm having a moment. I can't live the rest of my life waiting on these cards to come out of this machine and wait to find out I got 27 syntax errors and go to the deadline the night before and try to get this thing turned in with everybody else was trying to get things done. I can't do that. I need something where I'm going to make a difference in somebody's life. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to become a teacher. And that was the very moment that I decided I'm going to go back to Bowling Green State University and I'm going to change my major. And next semester, I'm going to start taking education classes and I'm going to become a history teacher. I'm going to become the best history teacher. And by God, there ain't going to be nobody who's going to be stuck in a bathroom until they come out telling me what color flowers need to be painted, because that's what I'm telling them. I'm going to teach them to think. Not to think the way I think. I'm not going to tell them, you got to be a Republican, you got to be a Democrat, you got to vote Trump, you got to vote Biden, I'm going to tell them, I don't care what you think, as long as you think. And I'm going to teach them to appreciate our nation, to say the Pledge of Allegiance with pride, but to know sometimes it's hard to be proud of our country. There's so many aspects of our wonderful place that we live. And it's not a wonderful place because we all think the same. It's a wonderful place because we're allowed to think differently. Now, Danny, that's why I became a teacher. Now, if you like these stories and you want to hear some more of them, follow me on Instagram at jerry.schrock. If you want to follow my blog and follow some more of my healthy journey and get healthy recipes, you can go on the web and go to www.jerryschrock.com. No dot between it this time. www.jerryschrock.com. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, just look for Jerry Schrock. I'm the guy holding the vegetables in front of my face because I'm all about clean eating and wholesome. Now, who inspired me for this? A good friend of mine I just met in a training. I texted her before I made this story, and I told her I was going to do it, and I said, I'm going to tag you on it, so please watch it and tell me how I did. Did I tell a good story? Did I tell an entertaining story? You guys do the same. Send me a comment. Go down there and send me a comment and say, man, what a great story. Oh, my gosh, yes, I know you better now. That's my goal. But this is Kendra Hall, and she is amazing. She wrote a book that I'm going to put on my story here today, and I'm going to tell everybody to make sure they get it. And honestly, I haven't read it yet, but I just ordered it. 3 to 5 business days is going to show up. I just told her I've got this. It's the number 2 bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list. I think I got that right. Might be higher than that now. I don't know what. But I actually texted her. She's a wonderful person, very motivated, and a great storyteller. I hope I did her justice before I read the book. I hope I get better after I read the book. And I hope I encouraged you to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, look at my blog on the internet, and tell your own stories. And just like I told my students back in American history, when I was teaching American history before I retired, I'm not going to tell you how to think, but I'm going to tell you to think. I'm going to stretch your minds. Believe in your own possibilities. Believe in the power that comes from within, and overcome that fear. Don't go around the fear. Don't go over the fear. Don't go under the fear. Go right frickin' through it and make yourself the best version of yourself. How's that?